fades back, swoosh, and that's the game! Nothing further, Your Honor.
I've never seen that happen. Hi, I'm Wendy Joseph. I'm a barrister, a QC, and a former senior circuit judge. And I'm here to break down for you some courtroom scenes from films and TV shows. So, this is a scene from Anatomy of a Scandal, and it deals with a passage of cross-examination.
Miss Lytton says you ripped her underwear in the lift.
I didn't rip her underwear.
Oh, they ripped by themselves then?
No.
That's how, what was your word? Insubstantial the underwear was. You have expertise when it comes to the substantiality of a woman's underwear.
My lord.
Miss Woodcroft.
That's pretty good. The setup is right. It looks like a courtroom. The robes are right. And the cross-examination is good. Short questions that build one upon each other until you make your point. The interruption by the judge is appropriate, not over the top. Really very good indeed. If I wanted to be picky about it, I suppose I could say, well, there's no curtain around the witness box, which would be used for vulnerable witnesses so they weren't exposed to a defendant. And the speed at which she's asking the questions would make it terribly difficult for this judge to keep a proper note from which to sum up at the end of the day. But all in all, really very impressive.
I'm someone who finds unethical behaviour repugnant. And I wonder, Miss Woodcroft, do you?
I'm not here to answer your questions, Mr. Whitehouse. I am here to put the Crown's case.
If she hadn't said, I'm not here to answer your questions, I, as a judge, would have intervened to have said that. Perhaps not quite in the way she did, but to explain that everyone in the courtroom's got a job, and the job of the witness is to answer the questions. The job of counsel is to ask them.
She wouldn't give you what you wanted, and that is why you had to force yourself on her.
I didn't force myself on her.
And that's why she's accused you of rape.
I am not a rapist. I did not rape her. The word rape and my name have nothing to do with each other.
I have no further questions for this witness.
See, I told you she did it well. I've seen witnesses get that angry with whoever is asking them the questions, whether it's prosecution or defence. It's the judge's job to try to take the sting out of what's happening, but sometimes it is that very anger that demonstrates where the truth lies. So you've got to make judgment calls there. The judge barely intervened in that section, and that was right, because nothing was going wrong that required intervention. So if I had to give it a score out of 10 for courtroom accuracy, and based just on that scene, it was good, 9 out of 10. This clip is from Broadchurch. It's the taking of the verdict.
Have you reached a verdict on this defendant?
Yes,
Is this the verdict of you all, or as a majority?
a majority.
Will the defendant please stand? Do you find the defendant, Joseph Michael Miller, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Great TV moment, bad court moment. That is not how you take a verdict. The question asked by the clerk is, have you reached a verdict on this defendant? Is it the verdict of you all or by a majority? That is a question that would never be asked at that stage. If the verdict is not guilty, no jury is ever asked whether their decision was unanimous or by a majority, because it is no one's business. If a defendant is acquitted, they are not guilty, and that is the end of the matter. It is only if the verdict is guilty that the clerk then asks the question, was it unanimous or by a majority?
Members of the jury,
Thank you for your careful attention to the facts and for delivering your verdict. You have discharged your duties honourably.
Sorry, no babies in the courtroom. It is not permitted for a child under the age of 14 to be in a courtroom which is sitting and where a trial is taking place.
This has been
I have had all sorts of things happen whilst verdicts are being delivered. Mostly I sit on murder trials, and as you can see here, the emotions run very high indeed. In the courtroom will be the family of the bereaved, the family of the defendant or the defendants. You've got to make a judgment as to whether you interfere when people who are under great emotional pressure behave in an inappropriate way. If they are disrupting the proceedings, then the judge has got to do something to stop it. But on the whole, if you can allow things to run on, you're probably better to do so. So, a rating out of 10 based solely on that clip was quite a short clip, and it was 2 quite serious errors, so I'm afraid only 6. This next clip is from Judge John Deed, and it deals with a section of contempt of court.
You must surrender to the dock officer.
I have to do this.
You'd better do as you're told, Mike. Some of them are such pedantic twits.
Just speak up, please, Miss Channing.
I said if you insist, my lord.
Oh, I do. I can be pedantic to the point of twittery.
So far, so good. The courtroom looks like a courtroom, one of the old-fashioned ones, not too many of those around anymore, but it's accurate. The robes are all right, and the right characters are in their places, apart, of course, from the defendant. As to where the defendant should sit, it isn't pedantic to put him into the dock. It's where he's supposed to be. It's a point of procedure, not of law, but it is the proper place for him.
So I think your argument, founded upon Bridge and Newways, falls when counterposed here with Lord Justice Brockway.
And this is where it all begins to go wrong. John Deed is doing the forbidden thing. He is descending into the arena. He's mounting the argument himself. He's heard submissions from counsel on one side. He himself is mounting the argument on the other side, and then he's ruling in his own favour. Nice if you were allowed to do it, but you're not.
I would like an adjournment to refer this elsewhere.
Well, I would have thought that even you would know that in a criminal trial on indictment, the right to appeal any aspect only arises at the conclusion of the case.
I'm afraid that isn't right. It's certainly true for the defence, but if a judge makes what is called a terminating ruling, that is, any ruling which in effect stops the trial, the prosecution has the right to go to the Court of Appeal there and then.
This is pure prejudice. You're not being fair to my client.
If you seek to disrupt these proceedings with spurious argument, I will hold you in contempt.
I hold you in contempt for what you're doing.
Miss Channing, if you continue, I'll have you removed.
You're being childish
Will
and
the dock
contemptible.
officer remove Miss Channing to the cells, please?
I love it, but it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen, hopefully, because counsel wouldn't conduct themselves like that. But it wouldn't happen for a more basic reason. It isn't permitted for a barrister who has a close relationship with a judge to actually appear in front of him. So either she would have returned the brief to someone else, or another judge would have sat on this case. The purpose of the rule is that justice should not only be done, but that it should be seen to be done. And this clip is a demonstration of how it all goes wrong. Another problem, which I'm afraid John Deed would have if he did what he's just purported to do, is if you are going to commit someone for contempt, there's a very strict procedure to be followed. It's in the criminal procedure rules. It's set out over a number of pages. and he hasn't even got to the bottom of the first page. So lots of mistakes there, I'm afraid. If I had to rate this clip out of 10 for accuracy, I'm awfully sorry, I couldn't give it more than 3. The next one is a clip from Sherlock, Moriarty's trial.
James Moriarty is for hire.
A tradesman?
Yes.
But not the sort who'd fix your heating?
No, the sort of plant a bomb or stage an assassination, but I'm sure he'd make a pretty decent job of your boiler.
Would you describe him as... What?
Can't do that, you're leading the witness. Here.
I'm really sorry to cut it off, it's so good. But we've now seen both a barrister and a judge really wearing either the wrong clothes or the right clothes wrong. Starting with the barrister, the lady is wearing, as she should be, a collarette, like this. But unlike having it neatly tucked into her jacket, she's got it flopping around the middle of her chest. Doesn't happen, shouldn't happen, and in my court, wouldn't happen. And then the judge. I was very puzzled by this because the robes that the judge is wearing are robes I didn't recognise at all. I had to go back and check, and what they actually are civil robes. You will never see a judge wearing those robes at the Old Bailey. But who cares?
How long have I known him? Not really your best line of inquiry. We met twice, 5 minutes in total. I pulled a gun, he tried to blow me up. I felt we had a special something.
Miss Sorrel, are you seriously claiming this man is an expert after knowing the accused for just 5 minutes?
2 minutes.
Unrealistic in the extreme, although in the context of this scene, perhaps that doesn't matter. However, you would not expect any barrister ever to call an expert witness without knowing exactly the basis of the expertise. It would be written down at the start of the report, would have been seen by both sides and the judge.
Keep your answers brief and to the point. Anything else will be treated as contempt.
Yet another one in which the judge is sending someone down to the cells for contempt. You might think our cells are full of nothing but contemners. It really isn't like that.
Do you think you could survive for just a few minutes without showing off?
I can't remember ever shouting at a witness. If I had done, it would have been a real failure on my part. There are other ways of doing things. I can't rate it for accuracy, but in an ideal world, I would give that 11 out of 10. And the next clip is from the film Liar, Liar.
118. All right, fine, I'm 127.
Uh-huh. And it says here you were born in 1964, but that's not true either, is it? Is it?
No.
Can you tell me what it says here on your birth certificate under date of birth?
Your Honor, I object. What does this have to do with anything?
This is a beautiful example of cross-examination. Unfortunately, he appears to be cross-examining his own witness. It's certainly not allowed in this country, and I'd be very surprised if it's allowed in America.
Prenuptial agreements! This contract is void! The fact that my client has been ridden more than Seattle Slew is irrelevant. Standard community property applies, and she is entitled to half of the marital assets, or $11.395 million. Jordan fades back, swoosh, and that's the game! Nothing further, Your Honor.
I've never seen that happen. I've seen eruptions of applause and boos at evidence that's been given, at verdicts that have been given, but never, I'm afraid, at counsel's cross-examination or counsel's speeches. There's no rule that says you can't have applause in a court, but it would be out of the ordinary. And like everything that happens in a courtroom, the judge has to make a decision about how to control what's happening.
I'm contesting custody.
What?
If I get sole custody of the kids, that's another 10 grand in child support payments.
You just won $11 million!
Hey, I'm the victim here. You said it yourself. Now I'm gonna hit him where it hurts.
But you...
The whole clip is Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey brilliantly. But that moment actually contains more truth than almost anything else I've been asked to look at amongst all of the clips, because it encapsulates that moment that comes to every advocate in their careers when they do something in accordance with their job which is really clever and which they suddenly realise has brought about a profound unhappiness for people who don't deserve to be made unhappy. I would like to give it 5. Whether I should or not's another matter, but I'd like to. It's been huge fun looking at all of these clips, but having seen them, it's really not surprising that people have so many misconceptions about what really happens in a courtroom. If you want to know how it really works, you need to go and talk to someone who works there. Talk to them or read a book by them. Thanks for watching. You can get my new book, Unlawful Killings, by clicking on the link below. And don't forget to subscribe to Penguin.